Who the fuck came up with trigger warnings and safe spaces? And why have the rest of you not put a stop to this shit? The other night, I headed to the state uni a few miles away, thinking it'd be a good place to reacquaint myself with your human world and society. Plus, from the last survey, colleges were known to be places of excess, and a great place to spread a little evil for shits and giggles. No major sins here normally, just a little lust, a little drunkenness, a little envy. Not hardcore murder or anything. I figured I could have a little fun and get some useful information in the process. But boy was I wrong. As I arrived on campus, I saw a flyer for the college's Feminist Student Union, and I thought, jackpot! From the historical files, we had known of feminism for quite a while, but it was mostly political equality crap, and we in the lower planes couldn't give two fiery shits about who runs your governmental institutions. A female politician is just as susceptible to corruption as a male politician. We just had to create a few specialists for them. I mean, a succubus isn't exactly going to be very effective on a female politician, generally. But when the 1980s survey came back and detailed all the fun ways feminism had changed and led the charge of the sexual revolution in the 60s and 70s, well, we were very pleased with how that turned out. Again, we couldn't care about your political equality shit or fight for equal pay, but the societal changes they were pushing were right up our alley. As much as we had wanted to, we never made any serious headway against the, what do humans call traditional family unit? The divine has quite a stake in it, and frankly designed you for it. Knowing how your species evolved, it shouldn't be surprising that the traditional family is, more or less, the natural order of things. I watched your kind come up through the eons, and the sexual revolution undid, or at least attempted to undo, what millions of years of evolution ingrained into you to your very core. Look at any sexually reproducing higher level animal. You have two sexes, male and female. The female is picky about her partner because she can only have one set of offspring at a time, and it is dangerous and resource and labor intensive to do so, while the male can sire offspring with multiple females, and it costs him almost nothing. The successful female is the one that chooses the best male, and the successful male is the one that is chosen by the most females. As advanced as you humans like to think you are, you're only a few million years away from living in the trees. And while your societal inclinations may have shifted relatively rapidly, your biological ones are still up in those trees. This biological imperative to mate and spread your species has informed your societal interactions up until very recently. Monogamous relationships are fairly new to your species, but they developed due to the extended youth period of your species and the need for more than one parent to care for the offspring. So it was a natural societal evolution, and I'm also pretty damn sure the divine has something to do with it as well. This brings us back to feminism and the changes in the 60s and 70s. The push for societal equality, completely disregarding your biological nature, was exactly what we wanted. The free sex movement helped us obliterate our previous records on lust, and the cognitive dissonance created within your primitive brains by the futile attempt to disregard your natural instincts led to such unfathomable suffering and discord. It was a completely unexpected boom for us. Push out a little anger and vanity, and boom! The divorce rate has 50%, and we have made some awesome inroads against the divine. So I was expecting some easy targets at the feminist meeting. Late teens to early 20s adults with bloodstream that is more hormone than oxygen, easy pickings. Push a little lust and let the excessive and impulsive nature of humanity take its course. Imagine my surprise when I walk into a room with a couple of those multicolored haired humans like the one that got me sent on this mission in the first place. It took all I had not to torch the entire room right then and there. I stayed in the name of research, and demonic mother was it awful. I knew you humans had a tendency to corrupt your nature, but fuck. I was expecting horny teenagers barely containing the desire to rip each other's clothes off, but what I got was a bunch of angry, confused, not adults. With the looks and feelings I was getting off of them, I could barely tell who was male and female without delving deep into their minds. I was picking up just a blip of lust from a few of these kids as I sat there for about 20 minutes listening to a soul-crushingly boring spiel on the patriarchy and how Trump was Hitler or the devil. Now, I know Lucifer personally. She would be pissed to hear that comparison, and not just because they're opposite genders. Anyway, after snapping out of my initial shock, I realized I had an opportunity. So I started spreading some anger, trying to get them really riled up, and it was working well. To the point we actually got up and were headed to protest against the college Republicans who were having some sort of display in the quad. Once we got there, the anger and wrath were really flowing. I had them shouting and stomping their feet, damn near foaming at the mouth, and shouting with venom dripping from their words. Almost got one of them to take a swing at somebody else. But the Republicans sat there, looked at them like they were insane, and simply stated, "Show us your facts. Rape culture does not exist, and there are only two genders." I have never heard a human screech like one of the feminists did when she heard that last one. I thought a banshee had shown up. After about 30 minutes of this back and forth shouting match, someone uttered the word "triggered," and then they quickly headed back to the meeting room, which they were now calling a safe space. Out of morbid curiosity, I tagged along, because this was not turning out like I was expecting it to. I mean, in the past, young humans were the warriors of your species. A young 20s male was a dangerous hunter and killer. So I tagged along, trying to get a feel for how I could push these kids some more, and I was getting nothing. The anger quickly vanished, no lust to be had, pride and vanity had long been absent. It was nothing but sadness and a bit of fear, which, don't get me wrong, I love some good human suffering, but this was nothing I could really get my claws into and twist. Imagine my dismay when we got back to the meeting room, and one of the leaders put on some music that I swear to Moloch was a fucking lullaby, and another brought out some crayons and coloring books from a cabinet. They all sat down in a circle, some cried, others colored, and they all said reassuring things to each other, but mostly just sat there whinging. I really thought I'd wandered into a kindergarten somehow. It was at this point that I decided to leave because, even as a demon, I was horrified. As I walked away, I contemplated how the unnatural haired ones had led to my current assignment on this freezing ball of dirt, and felt the need to do some research. I came across the following article and stopped dead in my tracks. In college and hiding from scary ideas. First off, ideas? Ideas are scary now. What the fuck happened to war, famine, and disease? You know, the traditional killers of humanity. I'm not going to read you the whole article, but I do want to highlight a few parts that really impacted me. When she heard last fall that a student group had organized a debate about campus sexual assaults between Jessica Valenti, the founder of Feministing.com, and Wendy McElroy, a libertarian, and that Miss McElroy was likely to criticize the term rape culture, Miss Byron was alarmed. Bringing in a speaker like that could serve to invalidate people's experience, she told me. It could be damaging. Invalidate people's experiences? What in the unholy fuck does that mean? How can anybody else's opinions about something invalidate what you think or feel about it? You think what you think. Somebody else's opinion on the matter can't invalidate that unless your convictions and sense of self are so weakly anchored that they are blown away by a stiff autumn breeze. I have personally tortured people for millennia who have yet to give up on their convictions, and they are in hell. They aren't ever leaving, and it would make things much easier on them if they just gave up, but they don't. Miss Byron here is a senior at college who can't bear to hear something contrary to her personal worldview. Just a tip for all you college kids out there like Miss Byron. If someone says that your experiences don't matter, you can tell them to fuck right off and walk away. You don't have to believe everything you are told. In fact, it might do you some good if, instead of assuming the fetal position, you argued back. Next is the description of the safe space, and I can't make this shit up. I lie for a living, and I wouldn't be able to come up with this crap. The safe space, Miss Byron explained, was intended to give people who might find comments troubling or triggering a place to recuperate. The room was equipped with cookies, coloring books, bubbles, Play-Doh, calming music, pillows, blankets, and a video of frolicking puppies, as well as students and staff members trained to deal with trauma. Emma Hall, a junior rape survivor and sexual assault peer educator who helped set up the room and worked in it during the debate, estimates that a couple of dozen people used it. At one point, she went to the lecture hall. It was packed, but after a while, she had to return to the safe space. I was feeling bombarded by a lot of viewpoints that really go against my dearly and closely held beliefs, Miss Hall said. So, I saw a bit of this on my own foray into the college environment, but damn, this is beyond infantile. I would have loved to have sat outside that room and fed on the suffering of those not-adults, but I am aghast at the last sentence here. Let me paraphrase and shorten. Feeling bombarded by a lot of viewpoints that go against my beliefs. Again, you don't have to listen to them. You can tell them to fuck off. And just because they go against your beliefs doesn't mean they are wrong either. If you feel truly disturbed by what someone else says, come up with an argument worth a damn. Oh, and your feelings are not an argument. They do not count. You hurt my feelings. Fuck your feelings. You think the rest of the big, bad world is going to give one iota of a shit about your feelings? No. I want to say this as clearly as possible. There is no safe space. Not on Earth, not in hell, and I would imagine not in heaven either, but it's been a very long time since I was welcome there. Grow some thicker skin, some metaphorical emotional armor, and sally forth like a product of nearly 4 billion years of brutal, nasty natural selection that you are. After the disappointment of the safe space and the tooth-shattering level of cringe of that article, I stopped at a tavern, bar, whatever you call it these days, and tried to cheer myself up. Inspired a few bar fights and at least one unplanned pregnancy, but it all felt hollow. Drunk humans are too easy, and it was mostly to keep my brain occupied and off the failure of the night's activities. On the plus side, beer and liquor have gotten significantly better since last time I was here, but I no longer get the looks of admiration and cheering that I used to when I down a bottle of grain liquor. You humans used to worship us for drinking like that. What happened? I did hear something about the alt-rights during that feminist meeting that sounded like it had some interesting prospects, so I think I'll look into that and see if it has anything to offer. Vaya cum diablos, amici me.